Welcome to the Brand Clarity Podcast, hosted by Visions to Images and Susie Liberatore. The Brand Clarity Podcast highlights several different topics, including entrepreneurship, franchises, and digital marketing trends. Visions to Images helps corporations and franchises with their branding, website, paid advertising, and digital marketing. Hello, everybody. Today on the podcast, I have Victoria Racca. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I always get so nervous when I say people's names because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's online and I can't screw it up. So, and I like being real, so it's okay if this is going. And she's an entrepreneur. We were connected, I believe, through email of some sort with your assistant, and they were like, hey, she would love to be on your podcast, and here we are. And I love the power of the online business just because of that fact. I meet so many amazing people. And we come together, we collaborate, we do all the things, and getting to know you has been amazing. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. And thank you for making time for me. I know that you're busy and I unfortunately had to reschedule from last week. So I'm just grateful that you even let me back on.
Of course. I totally get it. I'm a mom, I'm an owner, all that stuff, like things happen. And I think, to be fair, the first time we had something scheduled, I think something came up for me. I don't remember what. So what goes around, it's fine. It's all good.
You know what? We built the anticipation. I couldn't wait to hang out with you.
There you go. I love it. So tell me a little bit about your backstory and like what you're an entrepreneur and what you're doing, because I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you. So I started out, look, I did what I'm supposed to do. Good Catholic Southern girl. I went to school. I went to college. I got a 4-year degree. I was going to work in a nonprofit and did work in a nonprofit. And that's when I realized it was right in the name, nonprofit. So
Yeah.
I decided that I wanted to have a family. My husband and I got pregnant, and that unfortunately, and this is so common, that pregnancy, there was nothing in the ultrasound. So they told me, like, you're either going to pass the pregnancy at home or you'll come in and we'll do a DNC, but there's no baby. So I let my boss know that. And sure enough, a couple days later on a Wednesday, I started feeling it happening. And I texted him, or maybe I even called him and said, like, today's the day. I'm not coming to work. I go through this awful process of having a miscarriage at home. And if you've ever had one, at least the first one is awful because I never, like, my body, it's like your body is learning to go through birth. It's just as painful. It's the sweats. It's awful, right? The whole time, my employees and employer are texting me saying, where's this? Where's that? What's the password? Where's the key? Who's going to let in? What's the plan? You're the plan. I told you guys this. And this is what got me starting thinking, if I ever want to actually be a mom, it's going to be a lot more than one afternoon in the bathtub in the bathroom, right?
Right.
So I'm going to need to be able to be on my own time schedule if I want to be the kind of mother that I want to be. And I want to be the kind of mom that I had, but I had a stay-at-home mom. So she was always available to come to school if you forgot something, go on a field trip, stay home if you didn't feel well, whatever. If I wanted that same flexibility, but also to work, then I needed to be able to work on my own schedule.
Absolutely.
So I went back to school. I got into the beauty business. Eventually, I got into permanent cosmetics, and I started getting questions from other people saying, how are you doing this? How did you do this? How do I do this? So I opened up my own school. And in the state of Louisiana, I actually had to open a trade school to be able to teach this. So 4 years after being licensed and working in the field, I opened up my own trade school under the Board of Colleges in Louisiana. And I started teaching other people how to actually do the thing that I was doing. So the actual physical hands-on with a client. And then those people were like, well, the skill isn't enough because I don't know what I'm doing with business because they didn't go to business school. So then I started adding on mentorship and coaching. And I wound up diversifying just because I'm an entrepreneur by birth, by trade. It's just in me for whatever reason. So in addition to having the Microblading Institute, I wound up teaching other people how to teach it, and I licensed my curriculum to them. So this curriculum is taught across 6 states in the United States right now. And I also started manufacturing products, which is big conversation this week with, all the world events going on with tariffs and trade and everything. So yeah, a lot going on all the time, but my heart is always with those people who say, I want to be a mom and I want to XYZ. And that's kind of just where my passion lies and where my mission is. I'm an entrepreneur just by happenstance in every other facet of my life. But in general, I'm just mainly a professional supporter of women in business.
I love it. I love it. Your story is somewhat similar as mine as well, because similar stuff. I didn't have the miscarriage or anything like that, but when my son was sick, the employees just don't care. They're like, "What's going on?" And they need to be 24-hour free, and they can't go back to daycare and all of this stuff. And I've always wanted to have my own business, and I was working on the side to build the business. So a lot of that similarity, right, is there. And to me, like women in business is a whole different topic and opens so much doors because it's hard, but we can do it because and like men get the benefits of being able to have kids and work and be quote unquote happy. Whereas what happens to us? Why can't we work? Why can't we have kids and work and be there for both? And it's a tough balance, but it's so amazing to have women in business to be able to do it. So I applaud you.
Thanks. Well, I all through college, I worked in a strip club. So I have heard this 100 times from I think a lot of people don't know this about the strip club, but you don't work for the club. The club works for you.
Mhm,
No entity is telling me you have to be here at Wednesday and take your clothes off at 5 p.m. Like, that's not how that works.
mhm,
So they might hire you, but that's just a layman's term because it's what we're used to calling it. But what you're doing is you're actually an independent contractor.
yes,
They're saying, yeah, you're going to work here and whatever. So they don't pay you, you pay them. So we had like a manager, but he doesn't actually manage anything. He manages the house. He manages the
right,
bartender, the guy who plays the music, the guy who works the door, the guy who works VIP or whatever. So a lot of times you don't and girls, you don't like sign up. There's no schedule. You just show up or you don't show up. And there's a certain time you have to be there by, and your fees are like per hour, right? So if I get there at 5 p.m., it's free. If I get there at 7 p.m., it's like a $5 fee. If I get there at 9, it's like a $15 fee. And you tip all those people out at the end of the night. So whatever I made tonight, I pay my house fee, which is that fee by whatever time you got there. And then I pay the house mom who like provides you with tampons and sews your dress if it rips or whatever. I pay the DJ. I pay the bartender, whatever. And we all became really good friends. I was very blessed. I worked in a club where all the people that I worked with are still my friends. Some have actually worked for me in sales in this business. I learned so much about sales and so much about management from working in that field as a 20-year-old, as a 22-year-old. One of the number one things that I would hear my friend Nando say, and I just saw him in Prague last year. He married a gal who lives out there and he lives in Prague. And I was there for a speaking event. So we got to have a little reunion. And he was saying, one of the hardest things about that job is that we don't necessarily manage the talent, right? But we manage the shot girls and the waitresses and the bartenders. And working with all females where they all have different problems. My babysitter didn't come in. I can't come to work because my implant's leaking, which is a real thing that actually happened to someone. They like came back to work too soon after a boob job. Or my kid's sick, or I have to study I'm in school at LSU, and it's just always something. And 30 different women with 30 different the weight of 30 different families on you all the time trying to find a replacement or figure out who could come in or not come in. No one cares about the wedding as much as the bride.
right.
Nobody. So if you're not the one owning it and you call in and say, sorry, I can't come in, it's just no longer your problem. It's now someone else's problem. I feel you when you said when I'm not there because my kid's sick, nobody else cares that much about it. It
Right.
is mayhem. And you don't realize how much of that mental load of the business you
Oh my god.
carry home with you
Yeah,
every single night. It's not
absolutely.
like Target where you clock in and clock out and you don't think about Target again until you put on your red shirt again. The
Mm-mm.
business is always on your mind. And when you're at work, home is always on your mind. And there is no balance. There is no how do we be a good mom and a good businesswoman? Because when you're at one, you feel guilty about not being at the other and vice versa. It's always just there's no like 100% balance. It's
Right.
always just the ebbs and flows. And sometimes this one wins and sometimes this one wins. But
Right.
it is definitely difficult. And I don't envy anyone who is currently balancing a bunch of female employees because we're hard to work with a little
I
bit.
would say so. I don't think I could manage female employees like that. I would lose my crap to that for
30 is wild. I know girls who have like 12 or 15 girls working in their salon, and it's just like, damn, you are a soldier because
yes.
I do booth rentals. I had employees for a while and I realized that wasn't the business model that I wanted to commit myself to. It took too much time away from other businesses because I own these other businesses and have kids. Don't ever feel like, well, I can't do that because I have this business. You are doing more than the rest of us. You are
Right.
doing more than the rest of
I love it.
us.
I'm curious because I know you have so much income streams. And income streams is something that I'm very passionate about because obviously, as you know, like one cannot be enough. You always have to have so many different ones. I mean,
Oh,
you've
yeah.
talked about manufacturing, your courses, your licensing. There's so much good stuff there. How did you even come about this? How long did it take you to create this? Are they all profitable? Tell us a little bit about that story because I know there's always so many people who are like, oh, I want more income streams. And no,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
The number one thing I would tell someone who came to me and said, I want to work on XYZ, adding something new in addition to what I already do, is to make sure that your bread and butter is going to continue to pay you because your new thing might not be profitable for a while and it's going to take some income up front, right?
Hmm.
Second thing I would say is find someone who already does it and purchase mentorship from them in whatever form that comes. You know, that might be like weekly meetings where they're actually strategizing with you. That might be buying a shadow day where you can go and learn how to run the business. You can't run a business if you've never worked in that business before. You're just guessing your way through it, right? So I kind of did both. I'm a business coach, I am a business mentor, but coaches believe in coaching. I always have a coach. I have a coach now. In addition to that, I also went and got the experience. So I worked in the field. I was hired by someone else and kind of saw how they do things and cherry picked from that. Oh, I want to incorporate this one moving forward, or maybe I don't like how this is done. I want to change this and just made sure that as I move forward, I only take projects that are specific to something that I actually have experience in. Because how
Yeah.
can I coach you in something I haven't done before? So I think making sure that you have a good model to follow. In terms of are they all profitable? Sure, they are all profitable. They have all paid me back at least my investment and then some kind of monthly or yearly residual. Like for me, licensing pays me annually, but I've built into that other avenues of income.
Right.
So my licensing is renewed every year. So they pay me basically like a club fee annually, right? You can continue to use my course every year. You just pay in January X amount of money. And then however many you sell, keep that money. I don't care. But as part of our agreement, you have to purchase your products from me. So I sell my products to people and it's the very first product they're ever exposed to. So they want to use it, right? They're going to continue to purchase from me. And that is profitable also. Now, sometimes, depending on what's going on in the world, one thing might be more profitable than another, and then that could flip at any given moment. So let's say that there are significant tariffs against the United States from Canada. I do sell a lot in Canada. Purchasing might go down a little bit, but that's okay because I could, I'm diversified. I'm not just in one market. But let's say that that was the case. Let's say that I accidentally put all my eggs into one basket over in Canada and now purchases have gone down. That's fine because I'll just focus, the money comes where your focus is. I'll just focus on another stream of income. So I'll either get more clients in the chair or more students in the salon or whatever it may be until things can ebb and flow and try to balance back out again.
I love it. I'm like amazed and inspired by you, by the way, right now, because I'm like, I have a few different businesses and they're all works in progress. Like I have one main bread and butter, but I want these other ones to kind of take off, etc. But also I'm always thinking about other income streams for the main thing, right? So
Yeah.
I've done affiliate marketing, which is okay, but it's not really like gonna pay your bills, right? And I'm
Right. It's just gas for the month or something.
Right, and I'm gonna totally, like, write a book, but that's not necessarily a way to make income, it's more about to inspire, etcetera. I mean, yeah, sure, it's gonna be an income stream eventually, but also, I mean, the mentorship is huge. I mean, doing LinkedIn training or various things, like, all of that's on my mind, and I'm like, "But how do I get there? What do I need to do? Is there a need?" Like, so it's always hard as an entrepreneur to, like, say, yes, I want to start this. And yes, I want to do this and invest my time and energy while I have all these other pieces to manage. And it's hard.
Right.
It's hard and it takes time. I'm relaunching my software. Oh, this is the second time I'm relaunching it currently, but it's a work in progress. And I thought it was going to sell quickly. And now I'm here where I'm like, okay, we're relaunching everything, we're redoing everything, and we put pause on everything just because we want to rebuild it completely what we need it to be. It takes time.
It does. And sometimes it's not a matter of we need to rebuild it or we need to fine tune it or we need to make changes. Sometimes it's a matter of we just need to look at our launch strategy because maybe the product's great, but just no one's seen it. If nobody knows about it, nobody can buy it from you. So when I'm telling people, if you want to add something onto your business, you need to find someone who's done it before. I don't mean just find someone who has actually created an online course. I mean, find someone who's sold 100,000 of them because having done the thing does not make you successful in any right. And certainly there are a lot of people, especially in the beauty industry, very predatory tactic to say, well, I used to do this, so now I'm going to teach you how to make money doing it. And it's like, yeah, but all your money comes from coaching. None of your money actually comes from doing the thing that you're trying to tell me to do. That's because you weren't successful in it. A lot of people will say, I don't have enough clients, so I'll become an educator. Or I don't have enough students, so I'm going to teach people the business side of things. Like, babe, you're not doing great on the business side of things. But if their marketing looks good, if they bought some cute Canva templates and paid Meta, $100 a day or whatever, you're going to see it in your Facebook feed so often that it'll actually convince you that you should purchase with them. And then before you know it, you spent $18,000 on somebody who didn't have enough people in their studio. So
Yeah.
they decided to buy it from you. So you have to be really careful with that when you're looking for a mentor. I want to see testimonials. I want to see numbers. I want to see the proof is in the pudding. Before I signed on with the mentor I'm using right now, he actually opened up his analytics and showed me how
Oh,
much traffic he was getting and how many
right.
downloads he was getting.
Amazing. Yeah, and I mean, I'm all for mentorships. I have a few different ones for different areas of my life. I mean, one of the things when I first started my business was like I needed sales help. I needed various help. Like I knew I needed help, right? And there's that time and place where you're like, okay, I need help. I need to let go. I need to hire a mentor because so many times people might be scared. But yeah, you have like the first person I hired did good, but got me to where I needed to be, and then you gotta go to the next level and to the next level.
Yeah.
Your vision changes. So, like, don't be stuck on the same person for your whole career because as you grow, you need somebody else to grow with you.
Oh, absolutely. Because that person only has their experiences, right? One person can't teach you everything. So if you stay with just one person as your mentor for year after year, you're going to find yourself stagnating because you can only grow as much as they did.
Right, exactly. Hey there, I want to interrupt this episode with a quick message. If you're listening to this podcast episode and want to learn about branding your franchise or small business, then go to brandingbridge.com. That's branding-bridge.com. All right, so let's talk about owning traffic. Probably a very hot and popular subject.
Yeah.
I've always kind of told all of my clients, again, going to diversify, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. And you want to be able to have your own audience outside of platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, etc. So tell me more about this topic because I know you're so passionate about it.
I am. So during 2020, we all got on the internet because we were all at home and it was easy to grow an audience. And I like to think of Meta as a drug dealer. So it's just the easiest way to explain it, right? Meta gave us things for free at first. Like when Reels first came out, you could get 50,000 views, 60,000 views, easy. I have a Reel that's still doing numbers and it's at over 500,000 views. And it's the dumbest, it's a time lapse, maybe it's 7 seconds long, and it's the dun, 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 the Christmas bells, and I'm just putting things on my tray on every bell. Dun, 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 dun. That's it. That's the whole video. There's no person in it. There's no, lesson that you learned, nothing. And it's still climbing. And that was from 2 or 3 years ago. It was so easy to build an audience there that became people's like, well, this is easy and I'm getting lots of views. I'm building a brand awareness. And then, I'm converting that into paid clients and downloads if you're selling online courses. That became very easy. But then we got complacent. We really liked it. We were getting it for free. It didn't cost anything. And then Meta pulled a little switcheroo on us, which is exactly what a drug dealer would do. They give you a taste and then they say, oh, you want some more? You got to pay for it. So they throttled our traffic significantly, which is why you're seeing this decrease in views that's just beyond. Maybe you're getting 200 views per reel. And half the time it's not new audience. And if it is new audience, they might not be people that you actually want to sell to. It's just like random people, in a different country. And, I'm trying to sell in-person services in Louisiana. I don't need someone in La Jolla, California to see my reel because they're not going to walk through the door and purchase the service from me. So you can't even be really choosy with who your audience is. And you can't retarget them reliably. So if someone sees something and they like you, the rule of 7 in marketing says someone needs to experience your brand at least 7 times before they're ready to purchase from you. I can't even reliably retarget the people in my area 7 different times because I never know who the algorithm's going to throw me out to. The algorithm does this cute little test in the beginning. And if it doesn't do well, like people aren't online at the same time that you posted, or people aren't interacting with it within the first 10 minutes, then it dies in the algorithm, never to be seen again. So what they're doing is they're trying to force you to pay to play. They want you to buy ads. And at first people were like, okay, I'll spend $10 a day on ads. And then everyone was doing it. So they increased the ad spend. And now you got to spend a significant amount of money to be seen in the area you want, by the people you want regularly. And then you also have to dedicate a certain amount of time to going in and checking those analytics and refining things, or hire someone who can run your ads for you. And nobody wants to do that. So now everybody's thinking, well, my books are empty and I don't really have anyone around. And if you built your platform over on TikTok, which I love because the algorithm is so much wider, so much easier to grow on still, it's like early days of Instagram. The other day, what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, it went out for an entire day and they said that you weren't going to be able to get it back or something. And now it's in limbo and we don't really know what's going to happen. So you could have built 500,000 followers over on TikTok and you have reached to zero of them now. You can never reach out to them again. So do you want to just go back to Meta and pay for it all the time? Or do you want to go to a new app and start all over again? Do you not see the cycle that you have created for yourself where someone else, a big company, a big corporation can come in and take away your reach to people who want to see your stuff and want to be your clients? And then you just have to there's nothing you can do about it. That's because you don't own your own traffic. The people who visit your site, the people who watch your content, they don't get to tell the machine, hey, I want to see this and reliably see it. And you don't get to tell the machine, hey, I want them to see it and reliably see it. It doesn't work that way. So instead, what you need to do is you need to find a way to have a place where you can reach out to those people anytime. Some people are doing this through email marketing. Of course, there are email filters and spam rules. And then some people are doing this through text message marketing, which 100% of text messages get seen, but there are stricter rules and it's a little bit more expensive to do it. So I guess it just depends on what your margins look like and what you can afford and what your goals are.
So those are the two things that you kind of rely on then, is email and text?
Yeah, I think those are the two biggest. Of course, if you wanted to stay in the social aspect of social media, you could always do something a little bit more niche, like creating your own app. There's a shout out to Adeline Clothing. There's this huge clothing store. It's, I think, at least national, if not international, but it's massive. And it's right here in my town. This crazy fun gal owns it. It looks like a place that I would love to work, I guess. But anyway, that's what she did. She created her own app. And inside the Adeline app, you get first access, you get early access to
Right.
things, and they actually can go live. And it's very QVC, which is pretty innovative,
Yeah.
where you can watch and then they have that comment sold program, whatever, which I don't know if you've ever run into that, but a lot of boutiques will use comment sold where you say sold
Yeah.
small,
Yeah.
sold
Yeah. Yeah.
medium, whatever.
Yeah.
And they already have your info on file. So they charge you and they know where to ship it right away.
Yeah.
That's pretty, I mean, they send push notifications and say we're going live in 5 minutes and people will
Right.
actually sit there and watch it and they'll buy things. So you could do something like that where you have your own app. Or if you wanted to stay on true social media, you could create your own Facebook group or something like it, like, a Reddit group, or
Yeah,
if
because
you use
Facebook,
Kajabi, they have Kajabi community.
exactly. There's other platforms now that I think might be much better than Facebook groups, because I think they're kind of,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
But it
it
is a place where you can reliably reach out because you can
it
at
is.
everyone and
Oh, 100.
everyone will get a notification. But Facebook itself is dead. Meta killed itself with all of this stupid stuff that they keep doing. It's like they hate their users. They keep messing with their own platform.
Yeah.
And after a while you feel like the ball the cat keeps playing with. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah, and I think also to that point, Facebook pages are dead, LinkedIn pages are dead, like business pages are dead. And
Yeah.
all, like myself included and all my clients, we focus more on personal pages now because there's so
Yep.
much more growth and organic and outreaches and opportunities. And I think that's kind of like the future. I mean, look at Meta. They said, oh, become a digital creator and you can do ads on your personal page now and you can do all this other stuff. And because they know that their pages are dead. Even if you pay for ads these days, it's so hard. What is your favorite platform then, since you got all these issues with Meta?
I do really love TikTok. I do.
Okay.
And I find myself thinking like, "Oh, I need to go check my Instagram to see if I have a DM or whatever, or I need to go post something on my Instagram. Just because I have 14,000 followers there, I still use it. I'm not just going to abandon it. But when I go there, I'm like, oh, I hear that Nene Leaks
That
audio, the ghetto. I'm like, oh, it's dead over here. I do not like it here. I do not like it here. And I can't get back to TikTok fast enough. I
right.
will spend doom scrolling hours absorbing TikTok content because it's very different than what Meta kind of encouraged us to create over on Instagram. And I know people think of millennials and Instagram as synonymous, but and like the content that we create has become millennial content with the millennial pause and perfection and face to camera and the face zoom, quick jumps, whatever. I think that even millennials on TikTok have left that style. They're not making that anymore. And I don't believe in the Gen Z shake versus the millennial pause. I don't think that's a thing. I think it matters what platform you're on. And I know old people, literally old people, 78, 80 years old, who have TikToks that are popping, that I follow, and I love their content. So you can't tell me that TikTok is a place for kids or that your business isn't going to do well on it. It is engaging. It is much more of a community feel, and it's a whole lot less performative. They don't want transitions. They don't want filters. They just want you to show up and talk to your camera like you're talking, like you and I are talking right now, and post it. So it's also a lot less commitment on you. And if it doesn't land, who cares? Do another one. It doesn't matter. And your stuff remains searchable. In Instagram, it dies on the algorithm. Like you have 24 hours. If it takes off, maybe you have longer, but that's very, very rare. On TikTok, your stuff remains searchable because it is a search engine. And it's actually competing, if not having replaced Google as the number one place that people are searching for things.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's true. And so if you have those keywords embedded into your video or into your description, when someone searches how to do XYZ, that's what you do. Case in point, this weekend, Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yes.
I got a cute little like negligee at Target and they didn't take the tag off of it, the security tag, the
Yeah.
beep, 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 beep. Yeah. So I get home and I'm thinking, I'm not bringing this back to guest services and asking them to take this tag off. So I
Right.
looked and on TikTok, the very first video that when I searched how to get the Target tag off, the very first video showed me exactly how to do it. And it was a
Right.
lady sitting in her car who was like, same thing. It was a bra. She said, I am not bringing this back in. She put her seatbelt in it and she did this thing and it popped right off and it worked for me.
How
And I
fun.
didn't Google it.
How funny.
I didn't Google it. I don't know what we're gonna call it when we search it on TikTok instead of Google, but there's gotta be some kind of verb because
I'm
I'll
sure
TikTok
there
it
is.
something.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this. I've learned so much and I'm super excited for all of your success and growth and you sharing all of your ideas. What is the best way for somebody to learn more about you or to reach out?
You can check out my beauty business courses over at victoriaglam.com. And if you're listening to this podcast, please use code GLAMLIFE15. You can get 15% off any courses that you purchase from me. And if you want to have a conversation with me, I will tell you Instagram DM still is the best place. The TikTok DM function just is not.
Yes.
They want you to have conversations on the front end, not the back end, So Instagram DM at victoria.glam. I may not have posted in a few days, but I guarantee you I check my DMs every couple hours. So I'll be available there.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for listening in on today's Brand Clarity episode with Susie Liberatore. Two things. First and foremost, please, if you liked this episode, please subscribe and leave some positive reviews. Also, don't forget to sign up for Stop Sending Your Customers to the Competition and get my insider secrets to compelling branding that converts. You can find that at branding-bridge.com. It's a free workbook for you to check out right now, all of the branding techniques and strategies that I use for my paying clients.